Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. This is my second take doing this video because something got stuck in my throat. I'm actually crying a little bit. I had an absolute coughing fit. I'm ready on the pause button. If it happens again, I'm ready, but let's go. Take 2 of Eostrid Dreams. I'm not sure how to say it. Eostrid? Let's say Eostrid, like Eowyn from, I don't know. I was gonna say Game of Thrones. Oh my god. All the fantasy flagships being mixed up in my head. Anyway, let's take a look at her. You can probably see from the curse set, we're going to be focusing her more on Hydra, which is where I think the general best value for this champion will come. Although she could be a very good arena champion as well, although I think more so for early to mid game, right? Very, very good speed aura for arena, 28%. It's one of the better ones. Then she has an increased speed, increased attack, and a turn meter fill. She also has got a turn meter pushback on her A2. Now, for late game arena, I'm really not too convinced by her. Even end game arena, right? This A2 is going to do nothing against people under Stone Skin. It's not too bad if they're not under Stone Skin, but she just becomes a little bit questionable. Like Stone Skin, Polymorph starts to get in the way of this stuff. And these are not especially valuable debuffs to bring in arena anyway. They're not bad, and the turn meter pushback's nice, but yeah, Stone Skin does get in the way. So she could be good for a bomb team. She brings increased attack and a turn meter boost. That's nice. It's something that is worth considering, but I think broadly speaking, she's so strong for Hydra, I'd probably rather focus her there, you know? You're going to have Arbiter anyway. I think it makes probably more sense to put your super speed gear on Arbiter and have Arbiter be your speed champion. And this chick can be a backup speed champion early mid game. She can be in your tag arena teams. Early mid game live arena, you're not locked out of any picks anyway. I mean, you could pick her and Arbiter, I suppose. You could double. Anyway, it's a whole thing to consider. But Hydra, I think, is where she really shines despite the aura. So she comes in, turn meter, increase speed, increase attack. Yes, we love all those things. And even these buffs are for 3 turns, which is great. AoE, decrease speed, and weaken. The turn meter pushback does not work for Hydra, but man, those 2 things are great. That's really good. And then the A1 can sleep. That's definitely an arena-focused ability. She could even help you out early game, perhaps in Sand Devil, though personally I'd just be farming Muckstalker, the rare from campaign who does a 2-turn sleep. That hard carries you through like all the early, even probably mid-game stages of Sand Devil. He carries you to the hard stuff. You don't need another sleep champion. He's a rare. But she does it, which is nice. It's conditional. Not amazing for Sand Devil, but it's there. And yeah, she also heals you with her passive. I'm not sure how good this is. We're going to find out. So let's do it. What build have I put her into? So I put her in the Hydra focus build, which is in Cursed set. And I think she's going to be a good champion in this set. 50% chance to place Hex. Basically her rotation. She does her A3 extra turn, A2, which is an AoE. Then she'll do 2 A1s. So yeah, she's basically got an AoE every 3 turns, really. And then she does 2 turns of single target hits. She's not as good in a Curse set or a Provoke set or anything like that as a Necmoar is, who's her closest comparison for Hydra. But she's solid. She's going to be a solid source of Hex for your team. If you don't need Hex, it gives you a lot of damage. But if you don't need it, I think probably Guardian set would be best. Or if you're using her a lot in arena, you might just want to pop her in like a lot of perception and speed gear and just make her as fast as possible. It's kind of up to you. I've put her in good speed, cursed gear, basically. I even to give her reaction, but I don't think we're going to end up using her in arena too much. Probably not for this showcase. I think we'll just do the Hydra look today. Also worth mentioning, she does bring 2 buffs for your team. You could run her in 9-piece protection. I wouldn't bother unless it's full 9 pieces, though. So that's sort of up to you. That's definitely further on. You need to be winning Hydra clashes and stuff. But it's worth pointing out for sure. In terms of the stats, it's fairly straightforward. You need enough accuracy for whatever level you're going into. Use the Hell Hades Raid Stages tool to find out. High speed, the more the better. And yeah, that's basically it. We've given her some tanky stats. Her base stats are really good tanky-wise. So we've got her 80k HP, even without honestly trying all that much. Like we've got her in HP gloves. They've got triple speed. We've got HP chest. It is ascended up, to be fair, with speed boots. And this is the sort of stuff we're going for. We're basically looking for gear with speed and accuracy. Now, obviously, we are even overkill on accuracy for even Nightmare Hydra, right? You don't need more than 410. accuracy. So that's a bit too much. So you can run worse gear and be fine. I'd say an accuracy banner is the most likely thing. Again, you want a banner with lots of speed, a necklace with probably lots of accuracy, and a ring, a HP ring with triple attack percent. Why the heck not? Let's go for it. So yeah, she's interesting. I will just throw this out there. Let's compare her to Necmoar straight away. It's going to be difficult for me because I can't take a blessing off. So he's going to get crazy stats anyway because I have him 6-star. I think in the terms of gearing, big difference is Necmoar has an AoE A1, which provides him with a few benefits. So number one, he's really good with Slayer, where he gets turn meter for every enemy hit by AoEs, and everything he does is AoE. So he really benefits from admittedly fairly pay-to-win set in Slayer. The 4-piece specifically, I would say. So that's pretty big. He's also better with Provoke. If you manualed, it wouldn't matter, because you could just have Eostrid, A1, the head of Decay. But for auto, obviously the AoE A1 is always hitting the head that can be provoked. It's much, much more consistent. So he's very good with this. He's also very good in Curse set. We might even do a comparison. We could strip it off. It's going to be a bit unfair. He will do more damage at War Master because he's got AoEs. But yeah, we will do a comparison, though it might be a bit unfair because he is 6-star, but we'll do our best. She's got, I think, pretty much the same masteries, right? We're going to give her War Master just for the damage. We're going to extend her debuffs. We're going to extend her buffs. We're going to give her turn meter when debuffs or buffs expire. I honestly think as well, one of the most underrated parts of her kit is not only does she have increased speed and increased attack for Hydra, which is fantastic for budget champions like Sun Wukong that most of you have. Inquisitor Shamael, great budget champion. Increased attack for Rathalos Blade Master. Very, very good for lots of budget champs that are more reliant on attack. Increased speed, you really want it on your team. Decreased speed, you really want on your team. That's a little bit tricky to get into a Hydra team. And Weaken. Weaken is very special. 25% more damage. There's not a lot of good Hydra champions that bring Weaken. There's her. Bellinor, probably a bit underrated. He's not bad. Newt is obviously very solid, but it's awkward to use because he puts counterattack on himself, and if that gets stolen, it's bad. Ethos, I've actually seen some funny keys with Ethos with 6-star Crushing Rend doing a lot of damage, but that's like a Kraken thing. For a regular player, it's not that good. Kantra's very random. Carolon, Void Lego, but gives turn meter and does the weaken, maybe. Lydia is the standout. Obviously, Lydia, everyone can get her. She's probably the biggest source of weaken for most people. Stysia is good, brings the burns as well. Affinity and survivability are slight problems. Varl is fantastic and very underrated. And Falconen's not consistent at all. Venus is great, but Void Lego. Ugir, not as good at all for Hydra as this chick is. Not as good. And yeah, Theodore, pretty good. Theodore similar in that sense, actually. I forgot he did AoE weaken. There's not a lot of good options. There's not that many good sources, honestly, of weaken. It's still pretty limited when it comes to Hydra. And it's very powerful. Like 25% more damage, essentially. That's a pretty big deal. What I've done is I've put together a budget team for this showcase. We've obviously got better gear than most people will have, but look, this is the team. What have we got? We've got our Rathalos Blade Master. He's the only other legendary in here, and he's the most recent free login, so nearly all of you will have him. But he comes in, he's doing big damage. And simple enough, if you don't have him, replace him with anybody else that's doing big damage. He's just a damage dealer. Now, he does work well with burns, and he's an attack-based damage dealer. So we have the increased attack from Eostrid, which is going to boost the damage of him, and Shamael. We've got 3 attack-based damage dealers. She's going to boost all their damage. Even ups Ugo's damage, though that's not really very relevant. Skrank, good damage with AoE burns. Probably amazing champion for Hydra on a budget. Void Epic, absolutely god tier. 3 turn cooldown on burns. Yes, please. So he is super good. He brings the burns for Rathalos Blade Master. You need the burns for his passive, 50% more damage. That's a lot of damage. Right, it's a lot of damage. Skaramis, he's in for an AoE provoke. He will also mischief tank with counterattack continuous heal and brings decreased attack. He's like a mini Krisk. This guy is insane. Super, super good. We've got Eostrid, obviously. Ugo, brilliant combo with Eostrid. Brilliant budget combo. These 3 right here. Amazing budget combo. Let's even throw in Skrank. Let's even, you know what? This is the best budget team. Let's exaggerate it in our own favor here for the video. But Ugo brings you decreased defense and block buffs. Eostrid is bringing you all the speed manipulation and weaken. It's just such a good combo. You could put either one in Cursed and you're good. Shemale, yeah. So, I mean, let's go in. Let's take it for a spin. Let's take it for a whirl. And we'll see how it does. So she boosts us up. You can see the healing that she does, by the way, when she took a turn and boosted the turn meter there. It's about 5,000. That looked like AoE. Someone must have got some turn meter. I'm not sure exactly who or what, but I guess we'll find out. There we go. Oh my, he actually had his stuff stolen. That's funny. Didn't steal the turn meter, which is nice. That is kind of funny because he is actually overkill on resistance for hard. That's just the 3% right there for the video. But we've killed that head already, which is absolutely fantastic. We've got all this speed control, making it easy, and we've got very good stats on these champs, but this should be a solid team no matter what. The biggest sort of problem you'd run into with this team is obviously without very good speed on this little fella here, you're not going to be able to perma provoke the Head of Decay, right? He will get a turn because you've got a 3-turn provoke. With enough speed, it is possible, but you need a lot of speed. I have him about 270 right now, and he's doing it, but 270 is a lot of speed early game. Lower speed, you're not going to prevent every cleanse, but, which is a big power change, but it's something to be aware of, for sure. Also, Skaramis, he's sadly not 100% consistent with the decreased attack, or if the Head of Wrath is the wrong affinity, you're going to run into some trouble, and there you might want to switch things up. Like if Head of Wrath is the wrong affinity, let's say it's a Force affinity Head of Wrath, Ugo's going to miss block buffs, he could get increased attack, Skaramis would miss decrease attack. It could be really bad, so I would be going in and switching it. Yeah, I would personally, in that situation, I would go in and I would switch it to like a Stag Knight and maybe Sun Wukong, and then we'd have 2 Spirit. We'd have the more consistent block buffs. Sun Wukong still scales with the increased attack from Eostrid, and Stag Knight brings us decreased attack, etc. We'd lose a Mischief tank. You might want to switch something up because of that. But just to give you an idea on some of the things that are going on, why is Skrank hitting the Head of Mischief? How did he even do that? There's not even a Hex out. How did that even happen? I don't know. But hey, it happened. But yeah, as you can see, our damage right now is... We actually 1-keyed. Sorry, I missed that. We've 1-keyed in 2 minutes so far, which is nuts. Our damage is very, very high, right? Between... Eostrid is very consistent with her weakens. She can weak hit, but still, she's very consistent. Skrank is even a backup weaken, which is nice. We just have a ton of damage in this team. We have basically 3 attack-based damage dealers, all being powered up, and that's letting us be very, very strong. So, yeah, let's... you know what? I'll let this run to, let's say, 100 million damage. And we'll see how far we're at. In fact, maybe I'll let this run the whole way out. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. It depends how much time we've got. 4 million there from his A1. Not A1, his A2. We'll take that. Lovely. Pretty nice. Yeah, I just think this is a... it's obviously not easy to get these exact champions, and you have to tweak the team a lot if you get them, but it should be a... Well, I mean, it not should be. This is a very strong... team. In fact, let's start run out. I'll be back when it's done. Let's run the whole key. I'll be right back. All right, guys, there we are. We actually got unlucky. But man, the damage per turn is crazy right here. So what happened? We had Head of Wrath spawn in and almost instantly get a poison cloud. And then he just barely killed us, right? He barely killed him. Barely with the damage, and then the reflect damage from a counterattack barely killed Rathalos Blade Master. So we lost him. But the damage potential for this is crazy. And we could easily swap somebody into like a Guardian set or something. That would help us out, or just cranking the stats up a bit, or simply just getting more lucky. I think that was quite unlucky, honestly. Quite unlucky. It's a downside we don't have a revive, but we are doing over 2 million damage per turn. So like if I was to take this, let's say 450 million. Okay. Let me get up a calculator here. Calculator. If I was to get up a calculator and we say 450 million, wasn't it? That much. If we divide that by let's say 1150 turns, and then we multiply that by 1500 turns. This team, potentially, like, you could be hitting around 600 million damage potentially with this team, right? That's about 600 million, almost slightly under, slightly under. But you could easily get there, right? I just put this team together. That's pretty good. Let's end it right now so we get a proper comparison across it. But that's obviously the danger if you do get that bad luck, and obviously the affinity could play a pretty big role. I don't know. I'm up here now, I guess. Hello, I live in this corner. So we can see in terms of the damage overall, wow, Eostrid is a crazy damage dealer. Well, no, obviously not. That's Hex is doing nearly all of it. So she would actually be pretty comparable to Ugo or Skaramis. She'd probably be doing by herself 12 to 18 million. So she's doing 50 to 60 million damage through the Hex. That's how powerful Hex is, right? Hex is adding a lot of damage. Rathalos Blade Master doing the most. Skrank with a lot, Shamail with a lot. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, we could swap these Cruelty Blessings. We've got Shamail. We don't really need these with Cruelty. We could swap them around and all that fun stuff. That's solid. You know, for wiping early, that's really solid. You know, you could, I think with a tiny bit better luck, you'd be doing over 500 million. With very good luck, you'd be doing 600 million, or with improving the gear and the stuff a bit, 600 mil from a very accessible team. That's pretty sick. I mean, if you threw in a Krisk instead, like, no problem, right? No problem. Mischief tanking, ally protection, you're sorted. You're done. Zero danger ever. You're good. So yeah, also other replacements. Obviously, Krisk would be an upgrade, or similar champions. We talked about Wukong, etc. as well. I think if you don't have an Inquisitor Shamail, obviously he's doing a lot of damage. Something like a Rector Drath. Rector Drath in a reflex set would be perfect. Good healing, good uptime on the Veils. You could even have Rector Drath in a Guardian set for even more protection, but the perfect Veil will keep you safe. She brings a revive if things go bad. You would lose 90 million damage, but your run would be a lot safer. You'd still be able to deal with Head of Torment like that. So I think that would work really well too. So yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty darn good. Okay, now what I want to do is to compare the net. Now this is obviously, here's the thing, right? Here is the thing, Necmoar in this team, right? And this is where Eostrid has great value. In this team, Necmoar is significantly worse because not only do we lose the 25% damage from the weaken, but we don't get the increased attack either, which is a huge deal. So we would have to entirely switch around our team comp to get Necmo in there. We'd have to do something different. But yeah, that's, you know... On the other hand, he brings a decreased attack, which is valuable. A speed aura, which can be valuable as well, for sure. But yeah, that's obviously something that's going to impact it. But like, if we throw in the same team here, like, I don't think we really need the leech. I found that her healing alongside Ugo was more than sufficient. Now we've got Necmo in a provoke set. It's giving us a backup provoke. It's making that more consistent. Yeah, I just brought up the replay as well. To sort of see and get a vibe for it. Let's see. But I mean, even right there, I think on that first hit we did about 200k on that head, whereas with Rathalos, with the weaken and the increased attack, he was more like 370k, I think. It's a pretty big damage difference. I mean, you can see the damage difference already. It's fairly massive. But I mean, let's leave it going. We've got a 6-star Necmo in great sets and gear, so that's not an issue at all. We've got a very well-geared Necmo. I just find it would be hard to compare like for like, and like I said, there are differences as well. Like, I think Necmo, he works really well with Slayer, because you can see the boosted turn meter. He gets so much turn meter from Slayer. He takes a lot of turns, so like, Necmo will take more turns, and he will do more personal damage, because he's got an AoE A1 with War Master. He will do more damage. Obviously, in this run, actually, we don't have the weaken because he's not the weaken. We don't have Hex because he's not incursed. So it's not the most fair damage comparison. But still, it should give you a bit of a vibe in terms of where we're going. Necmo, obviously fantastic, but you've got that difference in utility between the two is pretty huge as well. So this is still a good team, but we're not going to have really anywhere near the damage that we would otherwise. I'm kind of curious, like, how did it compare at this point? Like, if we go to around turn 10 last time, about 25 million, I think we're going to be way short of that, right? We'll let it actually fully run out because we could get some hits in here. I think we're going to be way short. And there's obviously a little bit of just natural variance, but look, increase. I mean, we did almost double the damage with her, which is insane. But it's not really a surprise. You know, you're losing 60% damage from no increase attack on, well, not quite 60% damage on Skrank because a bit of it is burn, but you're losing 60% Shamail and Rathalos Blademaster damage. You're losing, I don't know, 40 to 50% maybe of Skrank's damage. You're losing a ton. And then Weaken, you're losing 25% damage just overall from everybody. So, yeah, that's a pretty big difference. I think they're going to end up being, they're going to be in different types of teams. And I think that's really interesting. Very, very interesting. So there you go. Like, it's basically what I want to show in this showcase is she good for Hydra? I think that we have shown that. I mean, it's really obvious from her skills, but I think we've shown that for sure. And hopefully I've broken it down. I've given you a good example of a budget team that's absolutely killer. Yeah, and you can make a big difference. Now, one thing obviously to watch out, and this is interesting. I was chatting to Saf about this. And he made a good point. It's the same problem with Necmoar, right? This extra turn mechanic. And this is something that I've already been considering in terms of preferring Relentless or Reflex or Impulse over Relentless for supports, absolutely. Maybe not for damage, but for supports, moving away from Relentless in situations where you're hitting maximum turns. I was hoping that in our showcase there we were going to reach maximum turns. We almost did. It came very close. Unfortunately, we had that wipe. But I put up a poll a couple of days ago asking how your Hydra runs normally end. So this mechanic, this extra turn mechanic, is eating into your turns, which is eating into your damage. Basically, Necmoar has the same problem, or anyone in Relentless, or anyone with extra turn mechanics. If you are in this situation, 12% if you are, where your Hydra run, you're reaching the turn limit, that's a disadvantage, actually potentially quite a substantial one. If, however, you're in this, where you're ending it earlier, I guess is a bit different, but if your team is dying, or if your team is getting devoured, which is most of you, then these extra turns don't actually matter. It's not harming you at all. So that is something to consider. Like in terms of being S+, like is she S+ tier for Hydra? You know, I actually do agree with Saf that I think he was, when we were chatting, he was maybe a little harsh on Necmoar and on Eostrid. I think they are still absolutely top tier for Hydra. But, I mean, certainly if you're talking Uber Kraken world, you would just run 3 different Trenda teams, and nothing can compete with that, even close. But it is a mark against any extra turn mechanics. If you're hitting the turn limit, extra turn is bad. And that is something that does happen in Hydra, for sure. But I do think Eostrid, we ran her in hard here. She'd also be super viable in Brutal and in Nightmare. And I think, you know, when you go up into Brutal and Nightmare, it becomes less common for people to be pushing the turn limits as well. But it is definitely something to be aware of. I think her and Necmoar, though, are still both super viable because of what they bring in their kits, right? There's just so much utility here. I've got 4 different buffs and debuffs I want to bring, and even healing. We've got increased speed, yes. Increased attack, yeah. And for 3 turns, makes it very consistent. That was something I noticed as well. It made Rathalos Blademaster do a lot more damage because increased attack, if he was getting extra turns from being boosted by Shamail, that extra, instead of being a 2-turn increased attack, being a 3-turn, makes it very consistent. It's lovely. These 3-turn buffs are actually super good. Super good. But 3-turn speed and attack for your team, AoE weaken, decrease speed. There are 4 really high value things that I want in every Hydra team. Well, it depends on increased attack if you're using that type of team, but you know, often you are. There are 4 super valuable AoE buffs and debuffs. That's a lot to bring on top of healing and some turn meter boosting. Very, very strong. Necmoar is in a similar spot. I don't know which one is better. Honestly, Necmoar, he only has the speed for 2 turns, but he's got more turn meter boost. He brings Leech as well. Which is fairly comparable, I felt, to her healing, but he brings decreased attack, so you don't need that from anybody else. The speed aura. I mean, she might even be slightly better. I don't know. It's hard to say. That his A1 is great, right? And it does mean, like I said, you can do something like Slayer plus Provoke or Slayer plus Curse, and it's very good. But it's tough. Like if you for me to tell you which one is better right now, I really couldn't say. I really couldn't say. So yeah, I think she's insane. She's insane. I would be. I'm probably gonna run this. I'm probably gonna run this team like on live. I probably. It's a great team for hard difficulty, if I do say so myself. Obviously, keeping this team alive on higher difficulties, you'd have to upgrade some of these champions. But yeah, man, this team is a killer. It's great. So there you go. Let me show you the stats on the team really fast. This is including these area bonuses. So this is Rathalos Blade Master, Skrank right here. He is in Relentless to make the burns more consistent, which does eat into your turn somewhat. So maybe we'd switch that. But hey, Necmoar like this. I mean, ultimately Merciless 9-piece would be ideal. Skiramis. Again, a lot of these stats are overkill for hard. Like, again, this is too much accuracy. Ugo and Inquisitor Shamail. To up the survivability of the team, you could put easily Shamail in Guardian. Ugo could go in Guardian. Sorry, we should take out Necmoar. It's not. He's not supposed to be there. That's not Eostrid. Eostrid, you've changed into a lizard. My ultimate sexual fantasy. Excellent. You're a lizard, darling. So these are her stats. The Hydra bonuses. He's in Merciless, he's in Relentless, he is in just resistance sets. Ugo is in Relentless, which again I might switch, honestly. I'm even thinking maybe Affinity Breaker for Ugo could be kind of nice. High speed Affinity Breaker, or Guardian to keep you alive. I forget what Shamail is in. I think he's in random sets. And yeah, I can't show you the area bonuses. I'll show them over here. Let's actually find the Shamail so we can see. I forget. He's in random sets. Yeah. So for Hydra bonuses, I can't show them properly on the tester, but these are them, right? We've got 12 speed, 18% crit damage, 12% ignore defense. We do have 40 bonus accuracy, which is way too much. Like, that's why we're way overkill in the accuracy. We were overkill and resist as well, all that. So they are the area bonuses if you're curious, and that's the team. Yeah, I think that for Hydra, there's no question. This champ, this fusion, you should do it. You should do it. Very much. Done. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.